This section that I'm about to film is the only part of the book that is AI generated. It uses you in the key traits section because it's AI speaking to me, responding to my request to explain my type to the viewer, something I felt inadequate to do. You'll also be able to tell it's AI because it writes so much more intelligently than I do. Okay, so the AI starts here now. The INFJ is often described as the rare idealist, someone driven by deep values, quiet insight, and a persistent belief that the world can and should be more humane, meaningful, and aligned with inner truth. Despite being introverts, INFJs are deeply attuned to the emotional undercurrents of others. They feel everything, and not just for themselves. They're the kind of people who carry other people's stories inside them, sometimes for years. That empathy isn't surface level, it's cellular. Not cellular like a phone, cellular like your body. Key traits: visionary idealism. You see long term possibilities that others often miss. You're not content with what is, you lean into what ought to be. Quiet determination. You don't need the spotlight. In fact, you'd rather be behind the curtain, making meaningful things happen with subtlety and intent. Deep empathy. You intuit what others are feeling before they say a word. This gives you a quiet strength in relationships, but can also be emotionally exhausting. Purpose driven. You're not here to clock in and out of life. You need a mission, a calling, something that aligns with your personal sense of right and wrong. Independent spirit. You're cooperative, yes, but also fiercely private. You often need solitude to recharge and reflect. You're not antisocial, you're selectively social. Creative soul. Whether through writing, conversation, or design, INFJs often express themselves best through meaningful, symbolic communication. Storytelling is more than a hobby, it's how you make sense of life. Okay, so now this next section is shadow side and struggles. Burnout from caretaking. INFJs often absorb others' emotions and can overextend themselves trying to fix things. My mother used to tell me I had the savior complex. This is when I was like in my 20s, so she knew me well. Um, Feeling misunderstood. I have felt this more than any of these other struggles most of my life. Because you're a paradox, emotional but analytical, idealistic but pragmatic, others may not always get you, and that can sting. Absolutely. Perfectionism, not for show, but because you want to do right by your values. This can stall action or lead to quiet frustration. Wrestling with belonging. You often feel like an outsider, and not because you're antisocial, but because your mind lives in a deeper, more complex space than the average day to day allows. Now we're back to my words. My take on the above words and opinions of AI. In my 20s, I was an extrovert to the extreme. I craved the spotlight, wanting everyone to know my name. I gave my opinion on everything, whether someone asked for it or not. Okay. I felt like an outsider from the start of adolescence and continued to feel that way until I made the move to be me at age 35. There will be a mosaic on that. And finally, I take issue with being described as a perfectionist. Perfection is an unattainable idea or ideal. When I write a play or a short story, I'm not looking to write the perfect one, just one that satisfies me to the extent that I accomplished the goal of writing a story or writing the story that I set out to write. As close as I think I came to being a perfectionist is to write a better piece of literature than the last one. If you asked anyone who knew me decently well in my 20s and 30s and told them my type, they'd fall over laughing and tell you you had the wrong guy. The rest of this book will try to show my progression, how I came to be the man I am today. It won't be simply a list of accomplishments. Some of the downs I experienced played a larger role than the ups.